The year was 2013, and I was losing my mind. The trailer was out for Pokemon's upcoming games, and what I saw excited me. Brain-melting 3D, stunning locations, whatever that is, I can't wait to explore it thoroughly, and a set of starters far more enticing than what came before. But the kicker was that legendary tease at the end. Rather instantly, I was more enamored with the subtly shaped bacon bird than the Princess Mononoke deer, and I made my decision then and there to play Y version. Flash forward to October 12th, and I got it day one. To see the mainline series go from 2D to 3D was a transcendent experience. Finally, after all this time, we were well on the way to reaching Pokemon Stadium levels of ingenuity. As for the game itself, it made quite the impression. The rivals were numerous, the scenery was overwhelmingly French, and the evil team, well, they weren't Team Plasma, that's for sure. The Mega Evolutions were hype-inducing though, even if the blatant favoritism for some of them was painfully obvious. And yet, as I was zooming around Kalos, I kept drifting back to that imposing creature from the title screen. Throughout my journey, bits and pieces of lore alluded to it, and following the most shocking villain reveal since Sephiroth, I raced to Team Flare's HQ. There, I bore witness to a cutscene that still gives me goosebumps to this very day. I mean, just look at it. This was Yveltal. Unlike prior legendary encounters that took anywhere from minutes to even days, this meeting was a rather trivial affair. Wielding this formidable new addition to the team, it was immensely cathartic to dunk on my Sanders' sanctimonious self. Admittedly, the rest of the game was just as simple. Not Geomancy Xerneas levels of easy, but I wasn't exactly shaking in my boots at the sight of Diantha. At the end of Y's story, I rather fittingly utilized the embodiment of destruction to battle the very man who brought Kalos to ruin all those years ago. Truth be told, this Yveltal was the last legendary I used in a standard playthrough for nearly a decade. Its terrible power effortlessly swept away any challenge. Emphasis on terrible, as this Pokemon is a monster in every sense of the word. On the surface, Yveltal is the culmination of the shifting design philosophy first epitomized via Groudon. It's got more edge and a coolness factor, and just oozes aura. This isn't me using Gen Z slang or anything, it literally radiates aura. But that's besides the point. I think we can all agree that Yveltal pulls off the letter Y look as best it can. The only Pokemon that beats it in that regard is Unown for obvious reasons. Aside from the 25th letter of the alphabet, Yveltal draws inspiration from a smorgasbord of sources. Crows and vultures are the clearest references, but the Celtic goddess Morrigan and the Norse Vedrfolnir are cited as well. There were evidently so many ideas swirling around that the OG Ken Sugimori himself actually had to take a break when creating Yveltal. Now that's impressive. Yet the design is just the tip of the iceberg. Exhibit A, Oblivion Wing. Any move that entails the theft of HP is usually gnarly to some extent. Giga Drain, Leech Life, and the like. But they all pale in comparison to Yveltal's signature attack. You see, this brutal bird's whole shtick is the siphoning of life energy, and with 75% of damage inflicted being absorbed, Oblivion Wing embodies that mantra to a frightening degree. Fun fact, if you give Yveltal the big root item, then a staggering 97.5% of health is taken instead. Furthermore, the move is visually striking, with the Gen A animation being especially caustic. If you thought Yveltal drinking opponents like a Capri Sun was bad enough, then allow me to turn your attention to its PokéDex entries. Contrasting most Pokemon, who usually either clock out after a good run or enter overtime via Ghostlyhood, our titular menace here is on that rebirth train. In order to do this, at the twilight of its life, it'll curl up like a Beyblade and proceed to drain the life force of every living thing near it. Yveltal then soundly snoozes for a few centuries, completely unrepentant in the fact that it just devoured an entire forest of creatures. This dormant stage is aptly known as the Cocoon of Destruction, and as a longtime fan of Toho Studios, all I have to say is that Mothra would never. Compounding all of this is Yveltal's in-game lore. Professor Sycamore states that its lifespan is 1 millennia, and there's a chronicle of it plunging Kalos into darkness 800 years ago by merely spreading its wings. However, I think the tale that best summarizes how much of a scoundrel this Pokemon is comes from the same scholar in Anastar City. Apparently, during the exact conflict that AZ was instrumental in some 3,000 years prior to the start of the game, Yveltal decided to involve itself. itself? Did it align with one side of the kerfuffle? No. Did it attempt to broker peace between the disparate and desperate factions? Also no. Instead, Yveltal just rushed in and third-partied everyone. This bird is so damn evil. Look, I get it. You can soundly argue that it is merely a force of nature, doing what it was made to do. The yin to Xerneas' yang. But that last incident was absolutely laser-guided maliciousness. I mean, for crying out loud, folks. In Diancie and the Cocoon of Destruction, Yveltal straight-up pillar-manned Ash's Pikachu. It took 17 movies for this electric mouse to suffer the same fate that Ash did in the first movie, and this devious avian was the one to do it. On the topic of the anime, did I mention that this thing's cry is pure nightmare fuel? Honestly, the most surprising part of Legends ZA was the fact that Lumios's redevelopment plan didn't include an anti-air battery with this horror stalking the skyline. In that game, we learn that Yveltal, whilst still in its cocoon form, managed to beat the brakes off of Team Flare so badly, to the extent that it's credited with indirectly foiling Lysander's scheme as a result. That is genuinely insane. Imagine shilling out 5 million Pokédollars to join a clandestine organization led by French Steve Jobs, and your first mission is against this primordial demon, to then be told that you absolutely have to catch it, because not doing so would give it free rein to annihilate the area, is quite the stake setter. Side note, but I need to know what the rent is like in Lumios. I, for one, would be a tad bit apprehensive about moving in, upon learning that the legendary representative of Annihilation is roosting here. All this doom and gloom aside, I actually really like Yveltal. It is my favorite member of the Aura trio, and honestly, it is my favorite legendary post-Gen 5 and pre-Gen 9 if I'm being real. The shiny in particular is just great. If I were to rank it, I'd say it's rare. It may be the harbinger of Oblivion, but my own Yveltal would never consume scores of helpless innocence. And hey, if you want to see the mother of all character arcs, just look at what happened to Gen 8's competitive scene when Yveltal joined Sword and Shield in the Crown Tundra DLC. This Quetzal was unironically the only thing preventing Calyrex Shadow from utterly dominating the meta. It teaming up with the infamous Incineroar, with Dark Aura amping up both of them, was just the cherry on top. The dreaded beast became an unexpected savior. Do like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video and want to see more. I am thoroughly locked in and will be posting a lot more going forward. That is all I have for you today. Thank you for your time. Yveltal. Yveltal. Yveltal? 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 Okay, this isn't even an Arceus Arceus situation. I cannot find the official pronunciation of this damn thing. What is going on?